Rissa, the whole idea of losing weight has been rewritten by medicine. I keep thinking about how extraordinary this moment is.
It really has. When we were younger, everybody believed the same thing. Gaining weight is easy, and losing weight is hell.
And today we can say something different. Gaining weight is still easy, but with the right medical guidance, losing weight has become easy too.
That is a remarkable sentence. Let's take it apart and see whether it holds up.
This is the story of how willpower stopped being the treatment, and how a subscription-based online medical program took its place.
Just remembering the old way of dieting makes me tired. Improvised food restriction, punishing exercise, and rebound weight that always came back.
And when it failed, people were told they simply had not tried hard enough. It was a very lonely fight.
Why was the only message back then? Just tough it out.
Because hormonal regulation and metabolic biology were not widely understood yet, and because society offered no system a normal person could sustain. Today the framing is different. Not willpower, but accurate knowledge and structured support. In other words, if you could not lose weight, it was not your fault.
Why did obesity become so widespread in Japan, during 30 years of deflation of all things?
The first reason is cheap calories. Price competition made high-calorie processed food the most affordable option available. Then add long working hours, commuting stress, and far more time spent sitting. Obesity is not a question of appearance. It is a warning signal from the body's entire metabolic system.
What does that cost the country?
Japan's total medical expenditure runs at roughly 45 trillion yen a year, and lifestyle-related disease accounts for around one-third of it. We cannot isolate the portion caused by obesity alone, but the direction is unmistakable.
Which brings me to the low-carb boom. What actually happened there?
That one is a case study in mistranslation. The original American concept was added sugar restriction, meaning reduce the excess simple sugars that are added to food. The single most important word, added, fell out of the sentence. The country turned white rice into a villain, and some people ended up genuinely energy depleted.
There were physical risks too, weren't there?
If you remove carbohydrate, that energy usually comes back as fat. During the boom, clinicians reported more patients with rising cholesterol. It looked healthy on the outside, while the arteries told a different story.
Saya, do you remember the phrase, commit to results? It was everywhere.
For me it is the symbol of how old media distorted our health literacy. Underneath it was a business model. Charge a very large fee, assume that motivation alone produces weight loss, and place all the responsibility on the client. Behind the word commitment sat a quieter sentence. If this fails, it is your fault. It monetized guilt.
So the fix is not more self-discipline. It is a system that does not put the entire burden on one person.
Yes, obesity is not a character flaw. It is a complex metabolic condition driven by hormonal regulation and by the environment we live in. The real goal here is to give dignity back to the treatment of obesity.
Dr. Suzuki, thank you for joining us. Why did you move toward drug therapy for obesity in the first place?
It began in 2016, at the European Association for the Study of Diabetes. In Japan we still taught diet and exercise as essentially the whole of treatment. In Europe, clinical reports were already appearing on GLP-1 receptor agonists used for obesity itself. At that meeting, a speaker stated plainly that obesity is not an untreatable state, but a treatable disease. The room was silent for a moment, and then the entire hall stood and applauded. My own assumptions turned over in that moment.
What is the mechanism, in plain language?
These drugs act on the incretin system. GLP-1 and GIP receptors sit in the gut and in the brain. They regulate satiety signaling and appetite at the neurological level. It is not appetite suppression by force. It is regulation.
Was the reaction in Japan supportive?
Not at first. I was told that losing weight with medication was cheating, but I was convinced it was necessary, in order to return dignity to patients as patients, rather than as people being blamed.
Doctor, could you walk us through the generations of these treatments?
Generation 0 is lifestyle and willpower, low long-term success, high rebound. Generation 1 is liraglutide, sold as Saxenda, a daily injection, moderate efficacy. It was the pioneer.
Saxenda was approved and reimbursed across the United States and Europe. Why was it never covered by insurance in Japan?
What follows is my inference. It is not confirmed by the company. My understanding is that an application for reimbursement was simply never filed, so the system never had the opportunity to approve it. The patent was due to expire in November 2024, and generics were close. Filing in Japan would have cost years and considerable money. Meanwhile, semaglutide was once weekly and more effective. Commercially, waiting was the rational choice.
So patients waited because of a business calculation.
Partly, but I want to be honest about the uncertainty. Patent timing, market size, and the regulatory environment may all have contributed. I cannot assert a single cause.
And generation 2?
Semaglutide, sold as Wegovy, weekly injection, strong efficacy. It established the modern GLP-1 baseline, and then came the breakthrough. Tirzepatide, sold as Zepbound. It is a dual-action agonist, acting on both the GIP and the GLP-1 receptor. That dual mechanism is what makes it different.
How much difference are we talking about?
SURMOUNT-5 was a randomized controlled trial comparing tirzepatide directly against semaglutide. Tirzepatide produced significantly greater weight reduction. It did, head-to-head against the previous best treatment, but the qualification matters clinically. That was superiority under specific trial conditions. The choice of a GLP-1 receptor agonist should still be based on the individual patient.
So it is not simply, everyone should take the newest drug.
Correct. Suitability, tolerance, and access all matter. In parts of Europe, Zepbound is not even available yet because supply cannot keep up. And one point of naming, tirzepatide prescribed for diabetes is called Mounjaro. The same molecule, prescribed for obesity, is Zepbound.
Doctor, if the drug is this effective, why isn't everyone who needs it already using it?
Because a revolutionary drug still requires a delivery system, and that is where things break down. There are 3 points of friction. The first is cost. Many clinics mark up the drug price aggressively. The medicine is available, but priced out of reach.
The second?
Fragmented care. A prescription is issued, and then nothing. No continuous monitoring, no support afterwards. Treatment is treated as a transaction.
And the third?
An information void. Patients are left alone with side effects, with plateaus, with no idea how to sustain a result, and that is when people quit.
So the gap is not scientific at all, it is structural.
It is entirely structural, which is exactly what we set out to rebuild. This was not my achievement alone. It exists because of the staff at my clinic. Let me introduce the person who leads our GLP-1 team.
Thank you, Doctor. My Medipro Prime is a subscription-based medical weight management service. Consultation, prescription, and ongoing patient support are all completed online, using liraglutide and tirzepatide under proper medical supervision.
Entirely online, from the first consultation onward?
Entirely online. It rests on 3 pillars: end-to-end telemedicine with specialist physicians, direct, secure delivery to your door, and continuous clinical education.
The delivery part interests me. These are peptides. Don't they need refrigeration?
They do. From June through September, when temperatures in Japan are high, we guarantee cool chain delivery between 2 and 8 degrees Celsius, specifically to protect peptide integrity, and the operation runs entirely through a licensed medical institution.
How does it work in practice, step by step?
We describe it as a care flywheel, with 3 steps. Step 1 is connect and consult, a reservation fee of 500 yen, and a secure video consultation with a specialist physician.
Step 2.
Prescribe and protect, nationwide flat rate delivery at 2,000 yen, with the guaranteed cool pack shipping during the summer months.
And step 3?
Support and sustain, exclusive video seminars and newsletters, written to help you navigate the 2 things that actually make people give up: plateaus and side effects. It is the step that determines whether treatment lasts. The structure itself carries the continuity, instead of relying on the patient's willpower.
May I ask about the money? This is where most people become suspicious.
Please do, because transparency is the point. In the standard clinic model, you face high consultation fees, essentially no aftercare, and substantial markups on the drug itself.
How substantial?
Zepbound 2.5 mg, in a 4-pen pack, is commonly around 24,000 yen, For our members, the same pack is 15,000 yen.
And the subscription itself?
1,650 yen per month. Tax included, with a minimum term of 3 months. That covers physician support, specialist video content, regular web seminars, and a newsletter.
So the saving is not a promotional trick. The markup is simply removed.
That is exactly it. Removing arbitrary clinical markups is how you democratize access.
Doctor, you place a lot of weight on the educational side. Why?
Because you are not simply subscribing to a medication. You are subscribing to an ecosystem of knowledge. Unlimited access to my expert video library, audio-only podcast format so you can learn while commuting, and guidance on avoiding the common GLP-1 pitfalls.
What sort of pitfalls?
The questions patients ask constantly. How long do I continue? When do the side effects settle? What do I do when the weight stops coming off? Those are the real questions, and they deserve real answers. And what I value most is that patients develop the habit of thinking for themselves. Knowledge is the strongest preventive medicine we have.
Doctor, one last question. How should we think about obesity from here on?
Consider what has changed. The past was individual burden, blame-based diets, and fragmented, expensive clinics, isolation and misinformation.
And the future?
Systemic success. Science-backed tirzepatide, delivered through a seamless and affordable telehealth ecosystem. Community, science, and structural support instead of blame. The old sentence is obsolete. Medicine can address metabolism directly, so we are able to redefine what losing weight means. Gaining weight is easy, but with the right medical guidance, losing weight has become easy too.
If you would like to begin, creating a free account is the first step, and there is no cost to do so.
And the Prime membership sits on top of that?
Yes, you register a basic account first, then enter your 10-digit Prime code, review the Prime terms and the fee schedule, and confirm. The code can also be entered later.
Where do people find the details?
At mymedipro.jp, or at glp1.diet. The QR code on screen goes to the same place.
Thank you both for listening so carefully. What we set out to build was obesity care that leaves no one behind. If today's conversation becomes the moment something changes for even one person, that is more than enough.
Gaining weight is easy, but with the right medical support, losing it has become easy too.
A new era, and the door is already open.